You say that somebody encouraged you to lease it to the plaintiff. He came recommended. He paid June. He paid July, and then he stopped paying rent, basically. Pretty much you were kind of okay with it because you really did want him out since he wasn't paying. But you say that he was living in the barn on the floor, that he was defecating in paint cans, and that this was not in compliance with the lease. He wrongfully sublet to your witness, the cattle rancher, by giving him basically a one-year lease for his cattle on property for which he only had a month-to-month tenancy.
Yes.
So you say that at the end of September, you had not locked him out. You had tenants coming in October 1st. You, in fact, have a counterclaim here. You're saying that he owes you for August, September, plus the late fees, which is $11.50, and also for breach of contract for the sublet for the total of $3,350.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, how could you sublet to somebody for a year when you only have a month-to-month?
Well, it was only for $450 for the year.
So you figured if you left, what the heck, you wouldn't complain for $450?
Well, no, it's...
Yeah, tricked them. All right, let's
Things
start with
happen,
you.
and that's
Tell
what
me
happened. Yep.
You saw this property, land for lease?
Just, I seen it in the newspaper. It was 50 acres or 45 acres with a barn with a room in it for rent. And so I called her up, and we talked about it. And she just happened to know somebody that I knew that conversed with him somehow. I don't know how that happened.
Chit-chat there.
Anyway, so we got together.
You agreed to pay $500 a month.
Yes.
For leasing this property.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you knew there wasn't a place for you to live. There was no place for you to go to the bathroom. There was no shower. There were no amenities. You had to bring something onto the property. You knew that, right?
Yes. Well, we had a fully contained travel inside the barn that we used. So there was no problem with that. I don't know what she's even talking about, that can stuff. But anyway, we had a trailer inside the barn, and we had a verbal agreement before I even signed the lease about bringing some cattle on to graze and put a little trailer in the barn.
Were you opposed to the cattle coming on?
He mentioned that they were his own cattle and that he did not have a travel trailer. He had a pop-up tent, and then the pop-up tent trailer was removed, and he was living on the ground in a tent in a sleeping bag. And Stephanie had already left because that would be too rough. You can't...
Okay, so we're going to stop you. Who is Stephanie?
It's his girlfriend.
Okay.
And she was also on the lease.
Okay, so now you paid June. When do you get Ramon's cattle?
I believe it was around 2 weeks after we were there. It was about the 15th, right around that area.
I have actually a document here that looks like it's signed by you, Dave, that says rented to Ramon Gonzalez, 1 year from August 1st, 2020 to August 1st, 2021, land for cattle grazing. So I guess it wasn't a couple of weeks after you moved in. You signed this. Do you recognize this document?
I can't see it from...
Sonia, would you please show this to him? And that would indicate that you gave him a one-year lease on property that you didn't have a right to do, which is to sublet.
Yeah, that looks like writing.
See that now?
Yeah. But it wasn't for $2,000. It was for $450. He knows that.
The thing is, you bound him to her land for a year, and she would have to maybe go through eviction or whatever to get him off the property. You had no right to do that.
I realize that, yeah.
You claim that you were locked out, that you were illegally evicted, and that's really what the big amount of money here is. But the thing is, where were you living in September?
We were staying at a hotel down in Hollister.
So when you went to that hotel, you must have had your things with you.
We had some things, yes.
Yeah. So how could you say that she put your stuff out?
All of our hard stuff, I mean...
Like what?
Tools, things like that. Nothing, no clothes or nothing, but tools and totes full of stuff.
Did he leave any property there, ma'am?
I was told after that he did leave some property. He came back and retrieved it, and it was still in the barn. I didn't touch it.
So you gave notice in August. You weren't living there in September. So how could you blame her for illegally locking you out if you were living someplace else?
The 30-day I gave her was a proposal, and I told her, I said, I hope you would accept this, get back to me and let me know what's going on with it.
Not a proposal. It was notice. It was notice. I'll be out of here. Yeah. And you weren't living there.
Well, even if it was 30 days, she said I gave it on the 1st. The people, I have pictures to prove it and dates, that they were there before the 28th.
So did any people move in before October 1st?
No, I met them at the gate on the 27th to exchange deposit and have them sign. And I told them that their lease would start October 1st, that his 30-day notice would end on the 30th. October 4th, they called me to say Dave came by and retrieved all his belongings. He offered them a weed eater. They declined it, but they said, everything's done. It's all taken care of. He's got his trailer. And they said, so relax. It's all done.